So in today's video, we're talking about our experience doing labor work and some construction work. So our first jobs was working at Macca's or McDonald's. When we decided that we needed a change and we need to make more money, because Macca's was pretty limited in terms of how much they pay per hour. So we knew that we'd get paid more at other jobs. So let's talk about our friend, or let's talk about you looking for jobs at Seek or some shit.
Oh yeah, fuck, I totally forgot. Funny story. We moved house, I think, so we were further from the Macca's, and I wanted to find a different job that wasn't so far. I applied at like pizza places, Domino's. I was trying to apply at liquor stores because I had like a responsible service of alcohol certification. And I wanted to be a bartender low-key. I thought that'd be cool, so I applied many different places. But also, I just wanted to get some new experiences other than working at McDonald's or Macca's. There's a website called Seek, which has a bunch of job applicants. So I just spammed a bunch of applications, put my resume in, my resume, all that stuff. And it was so funny because I got called back, and it was actually one of my high school mates who we went to school with since year 7, who called me back. And I knew he worked at this place as a recruiting manager, and a lot of the boys also worked there. But he called me saying, "Oh, fucking come in for an interview." So that was pretty cool. And I told my brother, like, "Oh, it's our friend Josh. Like, it was this laboring agency we did it." So that was pretty cool. Yapped a bit there. But.
Yeah. And then we went to the interview. It didn't even feel like an interview because this guy was like our genuine mate. So it was kind of just like we're just taking the piss, hanging out. But yeah, obviously he went through the procedures and like how we get started and like what working there looks like. And then pretty much he was like, "Yeah, you guys are in. We'll give you a call when some job comes." So the way it works is it was a labor agency and we were just one of the laborers. And our mate, the guy who hired us, would give us a call saying, "Okay, this place needs 2 laborers. Are you free at this time? It pays this amount. It's in this location. Do you want to take it? Yes or no?" So that's kind of how it worked. It was like casual work.
Yeah, it's like 2 days notice, right?
2 days notice,
like
1 day notice sometimes. But yeah, it was super flexible,
great for
super
uni.
chill.
Great schedule for uni.
And we were in uni, so yeah, it was a good job because it paid well. It was paying like minimum 27 an hour. And at McDonald's, we're getting paid like what, 20?
Maybe minimum like 8-hour shift pretty much, right? Minimum.
Not minimum. So it depends on some of them. Minimum 4-hour shift, I think.
Okay, but they were pretty much always like
Yeah, it was pretty much full day,
Sounds
8
good.
hours. Like compared to what we're getting paid at McDonald's, it was way better. So yeah, doing all these jobs definitely gave us a different perspective on just work in general. First of all, we were very, I want to say, sheltered in the area we lived in.
So in our area that we were in, we were pretty sheltered. Like we knew everyone in the area, lots of private schools in our area, and everyone kind of like knew each other, like one link away kind of thing. And we felt like we were in like a little bubble. And
Yeah.
any place outside of it, like we actually had no clue about. Not because we were ignorant or anything, but just because we never went to those areas. So we didn't realize how different life could be in Perth in different areas.
Yeah, so definitely gave us a different perspective on the different areas because we'd be traveling sometimes up to over an hour away for work. And yeah, it was worth it because you get paid more, and some of it even paid for like fuel, so that was good, or gas. And yeah, basically doing these labor jobs, we met a lot of people along the way. We heard about their life stories and what's going on for them because, as a labor guy, as someone casual just working at a workplace for like just a day, people are going to ask you, people are going to ask what you're doing. And something that I noticed was I said, "Oh, I'm in university, I'm studying finance and cybersecurity." And then all of these like other laborers, like full-time laborers, they're like,
Older guys,
please,
bro.
they're like, "Please listen to me and stay in uni. Do not drop out. I wish I went to university. Now I get my hands dirty every day and my back hurts. Whatever you do, never quit uni. Be smart." And at first I'm like, yeah, for sure. But then I realized like, these are the type of people who didn't really get much of an education, or they didn't choose to go down university. A lot of them dropped out of high school when they were super young to start working, and that's all they've ever done. That's all they ever know.
For like decades as well.
Yeah.
There's guys who are like 40, 45 years old. They say they've been doing the same thing, laboring, or just doing random jobs for like literally their whole lives, which was crazy to me. And then one thing I remember, I had a shift with a guy. It was just me and this other guy. We were unloading a sea container full of like air cons. So they're pretty heavy. They're probably like weighing more than me and shit. But this guy, I remember him saying like, it was like a 3-day job. So I think we were doing the same job for 3 days. And he said, oh, what you going to do after this? And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm in uni, I've got to study, blah, 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 do whatever the fuck. Chill out. He's like, oh, cool. And then I asked him, like, what are you doing after this? He's like, oh, I'm going to have a drink. And then I was like, oh, cool. Like, which bar are you going to? Like, somewhere near here? We were in, like, a different town. And he's like, nah, just by myself in my room. I just get a bottle of Jack's every day. And he said it, like, so casually. It was, like, so fucked. But imagine, like, in Australia, alcohol is, like, expensive because of tax. It's pretty dog. We get taxed heaps for alcohol. But this guy buys a bottle of Jack's every single day and drinks it. And I was like, what do you mean, like, every day? Like, it was just like it was like a Monday. It's like, yeah, Monday night thing for you? He's like, nah, every day I rent out a room, I don't have kids, and like that's his life. And he also smoked a whole cigarettes. He smoked a whole pack of cigarettes during the day, just through smokers. And it was really hot, so we had like mini breaks. He would just go through a whole pack, then buy shit in the lunch bar. So this guy was full paycheck to paycheck, had no kids, lived by himself, rented out a room, but he still couldn't save any money to do any traveling. Which, to me, I was like, fuck, like, I mean, this guy seems super chill. He obviously has lots of stories to tell from his life working, but he's never really made anything. And when I remember listening to this guy, I forgot his name, he was a lot older, and he was doing the same shit I was doing and getting paid the same amount. And I was like, cunt, I cannot be doing this for the rest of my life. That was very eye-opening. And I'm sure many guys doing laboring, construction work, especially if you're young and you like just got into it, I'm sure you are apprentices, you can have so many similar stories where you see guys like that and like, cunt, I don't want to be like that. That's at least how I felt.
100%, yeah. And I want to talk about, so I worked construction. This was before, or this was like as you were transitioning into the liquor store. But yeah, I got my white card, which is like the requirement you need to start working in construction because they paid more, like 31 an hour on average. So I was working in construction, and I'd go to these different sites, and let me tell you, like, it's like you're in the fucking trenches. Like, anyone who hasn't worked construction, it's pretty fucked. Like, it's brutal. My back hurt. Like, my first day, I was literally shoveling bricks into a wheelbarrow and going up a hill for 8 hours straight. And yeah, just fucked my back. And I'm like, how do these cunts do this for decades? 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week sometimes, for decades. And that's all they do, getting paid per hour, right? And again, going back from what we said in the Macca's video, it's like you're getting paid the same amount, yet some people are working harder and some people are lazy. But anyway, I want to talk about, because we were, working in different job sites. People would ask us like what we're doing and stuff, and I'd ask them. I want to ask, like how they get into this place, like what are they doing, and most of them were like in their 40s or 50s, some even 60s, and just working construction. That's all they do. I was speaking to this guy who was like 60 years old, and he's never left WA. So like he's never left the state his whole entire life. And I asked like, oh, how come? Like, do you just not want to travel? He's like, oh, I do. It's just, I just can't really afford it. I'm like, so you've been working construction for 40 years, for 4 decades, just living paycheck to paycheck, and you're not able to travel? And I realized it's because that's all they ever know, and it's all these habits. Like, most of them would be spending 20, 30 bucks on their lunch break, which is like an hour of work. Like, it made no sense to me. It's like, so you basically lost an hour of work by just buying food. And on top of this, like, they'd all smoke, like, every time they get a break. And cigarettes are super expensive in Australia, and they're just wasting their money on cigarettes, food, and then like they're getting drinks after work just to cope. That was their life. Never traveled outside WA, giving a okay life to their kids, and I just had this perspective compared to like how we were brought up. Like, that's definitely not something that we wanted to do.
And here's the thing, like, we're not looking down on anyone that chooses to go down that path.
I don't even think it was their fault that they went that way. I think that's all they ever knew.
I'd assume that because they've done it for so many years, they must either really like it, like they're very happy doing that, or they're just comfortable enough where they don't really need to make a change. So we're not looking down on anyone like that. We have friends who actually still do it. But we just knew after our experience, it was such a good experience for us to know exactly what we don't want to do, exactly what we want to run away from because of the experiences we had there.
Yeah.
And like Mateo was saying, same thing with me. When people ask you what I do, and I say, oh, I'm in university, I'm studying finance, cybersecurity, they're like, please stay, don't end up like me. You're a young kid, like, use your brain, don't want to use your hands when you're like older. And some of these guys had like a mortgage and kids and shit.
A lot of
And
them did,
we
most of
fucking
them.
didn't. And I feel like, you know, we were barely, I mean, we were saving money, but like, that money was not enough for one person still living at home. Imagine having a mortgage and kids. It's like, you just live your life just to work, which maybe they enjoyed being a laborer.
They don't.
Just being treated like a number, treated like shit. You know, it's not super secure work at the agency. I don't want to say they were treated like shit, but, you know, they're treated like a number, very replaceable. And they're not really achieving anything from themselves. They're just a pawn in someone else's game. That never sat well with us.
Yeah.
So, super grateful for the opportunity. I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it for the world, but it told us exactly, kind of like Macca's, exactly what we don't want to do. Because fuck
Yeah.
that. Fuck living like that. Imagine a life like that. Fuck that. Fun.
Yeah, and like
It's like I can feel it. Like we were doing that for like. I mean,
I
you
did it
worked
for like a
way
year and
more.
a half,
I
yeah.
probably did it for like a year, a few shifts, and it was eye opening for sure.
yeah,
And
super eye opening.
lots of people in like the bubble we were in, I think feel like they never really experienced anything like that.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad that we had that because in those areas, that was quite normal for people to live life like that.
yeah, we
It's
didn't
good
think
to
that was
have the
possible.
perspective change.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like 'cause
didn't even know that was a thing.
Most people from our school were just like, "Oh, go to uni,
Yeah.
get a job," and it's like, you know, they strive for more and stuff. But in these areas where we worked, in these job sites, like that was not the case, and it's like it gave me a different perspective of what is actually happening in Australia, just because we were so stuck in our little bubble where we lived. So yeah, super grateful for that. Something I want to talk about is me. I don't want to say getting fired, but so I got fired from one of the jobs. I didn't get fired from the agency. I was on my last warning, but obviously I left.
You
Since
gotta
then.
let go.
So I got let go, and so let me give you some context. I was working with one of our friends. Let's call him Tyler. Okay. So yeah, pretty good friends, like very good friends. I'm still very good friends with Tyler right now. So yeah, no beef there. But basically, what happened was Tyler is let's say he's not the hardest working person, and even in like school, he'd always try to like shortcut things. He'd wag a lot from school and stuff, which means like not show up and just pretend to be sick. But anyway, so I got on a job with him, right? And keep in mind, it's one of me and Tyler's mates, Josh, who's giving us these jobs. He's like, "Oh, you'll be working with Tyler. It pays this amount. It won't even feel like work. You'll be hanging out with him the whole time. It'll be super fun." So I was like, "Cool, let me do it." And we're pretty much pressure washing. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like the wheat and barley to make beer or something. We had to pressure wash that. Anyway, so I was working with Tyler, and what Tyler was doing, like it was good and all. Like we were there for like 2 weeks or something, but after the first week, Tyler started like wagging a lot and like going on his phone a lot and like not working. I was kind of like questioning. I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing? Come on, like it's pretty dog. Let's get back to work." He's like, "Oh, they won't catch us. Don't worry." And basically, he'd be on his phone, and me and Tyler would like, and I don't want to say peer pressured from him because
No,
I
it's
don't
your
believe in
fault.
peer pressure. I believe in everything's my fault, but he did kind of encourage me, and I kind of fell for it. But it was my fault because obviously I knew like the consequence of this. But we do a lot of sneaky shit. Like for example, we have a 30-minute break. We would have an hour break or something, and in our timesheets we would lie and say there was, or we only went for 30 minutes, right? And that's, well, a lot of people did this at this agency, but that's pretty much what we did. And he always tried to find ways to like hide from people and go on his phone and stuff. And then I pretty much just followed just because, yeah, he was my mate. But there's this time where, yeah, they caught us on our phone, and then he's like, "Oh, last warning, like, don't go on your phone, like, come on, we're paying for you." And keep in mind, we're getting like maybe $30 an hour, and essentially, these people pay the agency like $50 an hour because they're paying for us, right? And the agency needs to get paid. So that's how that kind of worked. But yeah, so we were on our warning for going on our phone, and then like my friend Tyler went on his phone again, and then they were like super mad, and someone even told us like, "Guys, like they're watching you, so like just go to work and like actually be good or something." And then pretty much, I think it was like we took 2 breaks during the day already, and it was kind of, that wasn't really regulated. You could just take a break whenever you want. So my friend Tyler had an idea to go for a break a 3rd time. I think you're only meant to go like twice a day, and we've gone 3 times already, and it hasn't even been half the day, something like that. And basically, the boss was like, "Oh, you two in the break room, like come here. You guys are free to leave, but just come to my office. We don't want you to come back," something like that. And we were meant to stay in this place for another like 2 weeks or something. So I was obviously like, "Oh fuck!" Like we just got fucked. But then I realized this is my fault. I let my friend affect me, and I let him follow me, or I let him make me follow him, if that makes sense. And yeah, it was definitely a huge lesson for me, because I realized like you can't shortcut things in life without the consequences. And yeah, pretty much
Don't
my
get
friend.
caught. Just don't get caught.
You don't get caught. But like, yeah, my friend Tyler, he basically like, our friend Josh stopped giving him work because I think more of that happened with him. But for me, he was like, "Look, Mateo, you're really good." I was really good in other jobs before. Like people like highly recommended me and stuff. He's like, and for that reason, like we're gonna keep giving you jobs, but I must say this is your last warning or whatever. I quit not long after that to pursue my online business, but I want to talk about like the lesson I learned from that, and I realized it's like, why am I trying to find a way to not work, right? It's because I'm getting paid per hour, and there's people like my friend Tyler who is super lazy, will always find a way to wag and always find a way to skip work because he gets paid the same amount as someone who actually does the work, right? So I think that was a true moment when I realized I fucking need to do something and get a job where I get paid for my value, for what I'm worth. So something like sales, commission-only roles, or business. And yeah, I just think that was a huge like part of my life story that definitely affected my trajectory today, because without me getting fired from that, I don't think I would have cared so much about starting an online business as much as I do now. Key takeaways is I would recommend it if you're working in uni.
Do it. Fucking do it.
If you need a different perspective, if you're like a really indoors guy, if you're a fucking gamer or like a guy who just reads books all the time, like
all you do study.
Get out in the fucking field and work in construction. It will change your life. You'll get a different perspective. You will treat work differently and
you might
treat
like
money
it.
differently.
You might like it a lot better than.
For sure, you'll get your hands dirty. You'll get your back sore. You'll talk to these guys who have fucked life stories. People living paycheck to paycheck, super depressed, mortgage with kids, child support and all that stuff. So yeah, if you're falling to that bracket, definitely work construction. Highly recommend. But yeah, in terms of the takeaways, if you don't want to work, working construction will give you a real perspective on like what it really takes working a job where you get paid per hour. Because there will be people who are lazy who get paid the same as the people who literally break their backs working. All right, if you guys have any cool stories from working in construction, or if you have any questions, if you want to start getting into it, leave a comment down below and we'll try to respond.
Yeah.
That's it for the video. Peace.
Like and subscribe down below.